Standing between he and the goal line, as coming flying through is Josh Miller.
I started playing footy from when I was probably 8 years old. The highs of my career was the fact that I wasn't meant to be there. I never had much talent.
What's that moment when someone comes to you and says, Josh, you can't do this anymore?
You sort of don't know, you don't really know what to do with yourself. You've known yourself as something for so long, and all of a sudden it's taken away, and you lose your identity a bit. It takes strength to stand up and realise that you need help and that you need to deal with things, and at times you've got to suffer to get better.
What do you think was within you that goes, hey, fuck, I need to change something?
What pulled me out of this, my two little boys, I'm not going to pass my damage on to my children. Yeah. So I knew it was time as a man to stand up and start dealing with stuff, otherwise I'm going to pass it on to them, and I love them too much for that.
Welcome back, guys, to the B.HUMAN Movement Podcast. We've got a very special friend of ours on today, Mr. Josh Miller, ex NRL player for Canberra Raiders, and now a specialist coach for them as well.
That's right.
How are you, my bro?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me on.
No worries.
Pleasure, mate.
Hopefully he fits in the camera view.
Yeah, actually, when I was setting up, I was like, fuck, what am I going to do with those thighs?
big exam.
Can you just give us, because look, we've come into contact with Josh via his sister Beck, love her to death. And you know, this big man comes to our event and we're like blown away with his openness and his willingness to sort of try something that's so out of the realm of what you sort of would have grown up with, what your culture would have been like, even in the sporting field. And as a man, you know, and you're a very strong, masculine man, even to give us a go with that. So like, we're grateful for that, first off. But can you just take us right back, your little childhood, what got you into like playing NRL, your dreams and stuff, and then obviously we'll take it further.
Yeah. Well, I've grown up in Forbes, which is a little country town out west. I started playing football from when I was about 8 or 10 years old. Do I have to hold this up?
Yeah. They're pretty sensitive. But
I started playing footy from when I was about probably 8 years old.
Yep.
All the way up till I got scouted to go to the Raiders, and then I went there when I was 17. Then I played for Canberra for 11 years, and then I went to Dragons for 1, and I got medically retired. So that was, my career was an absolute dream. But yeah, it was just, it got cut short.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the highs in your career while you were there?
The highs of my career was the fact that I wasn't meant to be there. Actually, you know what I mean? I never had much talent. Yeah. When I was coming through, I was always one of the littler blokes, especially when I played first grade. I was one of the little ones. So I really had no right to be out there playing, but because I had the effort there and obviously the love of the club and the love of the boys I was playing with, I made it work.
Fuck, that's a massive thing, because people look at you now and go, nah, you had it all. You had the package, you had the size, you had that. It's good to hear that, no, you fucking had to put in work.
I definitely had to work a lot harder for it than most. I didn't have the talent, so I had to work hard.
Yeah, so it's your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so.
It was, man. So, and what was your experiences? What was the highs, though? What were the highs? Like,
just
what did you
my NRL debut.
Yep.
Like I said, your first game out there, because you realise when I was at home watching like these players I idolised 3 years before, then 3 years later I'm in a change room with them just about to run out in the field, and when I got there I just remember thinking, how have I done this? Do you know what I mean? So that was definitely a highlight of my life, like players I'd looked up to my whole life, and then all of a sudden I'm in a change room beside them about to run out and play footy, so that was a pretty special day in my life. Yeah.
And would you consider it like one of the main, you know, loves of your life, even till today?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I loved it. I love football and I love that club.
Yeah.
I've gone from the Raiders since I was a baby, and the first time I went and watched them play, that's all I wanted to do my whole life, was play for them. So it's definitely, one of the loves of my life, the Raiders are. So,
love it, man.
So
love it.
How old were you, bro, when they basically said to you, can't play?
I was 28.
Fuck, so you were very young.
Yeah.
Right, is that a prime age for an NRL player?
I still would have had a few years left in me, but I had a few pretty bad knocks leading into it, Joey. And I knew I was getting close, brother.
I've seen your highlights, bro.
I did. I was pretty silly when I played.
Mate, you said you were one of the smaller guys, but you fucking made an impact on them.
I had to hit him with everything I had. So that was my only option. I didn't have size, so I had to hit him with speed. So that's why sometimes you can get it wrong.
No, that's cool. So, look, for the people that are out there now, like doing their dream, right? Whether it's NRL, AFL, fucking basketball, boxing, MMA, whatever. What's life look like for you? You know, what's that moment when someone comes to you and says, Josh, can't do this anymore.
You sort of don't know. You don't really know what to do with yourself. You've known yourself as something for so long, and all of a sudden that's taken away. And what do you lose your identity a bit.
Because it's also income. Did you have kids and family to look after back then?
I only had a partner back then.
Yeah.
But it's just such a change of life. You've gone from going to work with your best mates every day in a brotherhood.
Yeah.
And then to that being taken away, that's the thing you miss the most. It's not the money. It's the camaraderie of the group, and just being part of a group and being part of something. You know what I mean? That's what you just lose your identity there because you don't know what to do. It's like you've been taken away from your family.
Yeah. And it would have been did you spend a lot of time away from? Did you go support and watch the games or? Because I know for say myself, right, my passion is combat sports. At the age of 20, 21, hurt my back, prevented me from training and achieving the things I wanted to because I just don't feel the same, right? And I reckon fucking nearly 10 years worth of watching my partners, people there in the cage in the ring, and it hurts to sit on the sidelines, and there's times you just want to fucking rip them out and you want to jump in and be like, I want to feel everything you're copying. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I almost disengaged from the game, Joe, for 10 years because I couldn't watch it because it hurt me. Every time I watched it, I'd have the same feelings come flooding back. It's like when I walked into a change room. So, and I wasn't dealing with that well. When I'd go to a home game and watch it for whether it be for a reunion weekend, it had unsettled me for 3 or 4 days. So that's when I realised, something was still going on in there, and I still had some unresolved stuff from footy or. That I hadn't really dealt with it that well, and by me not watching it and that, I wasn't dealing with it.
That's what I was going to ask you. So when you do that, because those are like when you was talking about the family being like you're like now sort of outcast, right? That's a fucking big thing. Because I was just thinking about it becomes your family, and then you're no longer a part of it. And it's not just the good times, even the lows and stuff. Everything makes a family, right? It's like you're just out now. Those feelings will be quite heavy. And so when you were feeling those, right, what did you do? What was your outlet?
Well, my outlet, my outlet would be training, either overtraining, partying and stuff like that. And it wasn't the right outlet, do you know what I mean? Because you don't, all you do is push the feelings, you don't deal with them.
And you know what, the greater the pain, the greater the outlet.
That's right. And that's what the thing was. As soon as the outlets start becoming extreme, that's when you've got to do something to fix it.
Yeah, and also what I find too is like the makeup of who you are, right? You went in there going fucking hard. You're all or nothing when you go into rugby, right? So I find, even for myself, personal experience, I'm the same. I'm not going to do something half-assed. So if I'm going to fucking party, if I'm going to lash out, I'm going to lash out proper. You know what I mean?
That's it. When the outlets, when they start becoming extreme, that's when I knew I had to do something to start, standing up and dealing with stuff.
But what gave you that? Because there's a lot of people still, I know so many people that are still like caught up in that, right? And you know what? The beautiful part of this journey has been that the more I've got into this work, fuck man, my judgment has died. Because you get to see someone is just really searching for help, right? That's a cry for help, man. No one wants to avoid life unless it's that painful, right? So some people are still on that. What do you think was within you that goes, hey, fuck, I need to change something? Because not everybody wakes up to that in this lifetime.
What pulled me out of it is my 2 little boys, Aisha. And I'm not going to pass my image on to my children. So I knew it was time as a man to stand up and start dealing with stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to pass it on to them, and I love them too much for that. So that's why I had to be strong and stand up and fix myself. So I'm the best version of myself for my little boys.
Oh man,
100%, man.
That's the best.
And I like that you say that, bro, because it's a life-changing experience. And sometimes we're caught up in fucking how, like, everything's about us, how we feel, what we're going through. We victimise ourselves. We think, oh, fuck, poor us, everything. We feel like we kind of have a right to do what we're doing. All right, then you have kids, like myself, and you go, nah, man, there's fucking responsibilities.
That's it.
And what I found as well doing the work that we do is, you make decisions, you make thousands of decisions a day, right? But you're making conscious decisions now. Where you're not running off emotion. You can think about, like, when you're doing all these things and lashing out and whatnot, you're just making decisions on how you feel. Do you know what I mean? To suppress certain things. But now every decision's got your kids involved. It's got a lot more to think about. So I think it's very important, even if someone's not in that position where they've lost or being told they can't continue doing something they love,
Yeah.
they got to really sit there and go, fuck, what pattern am I running?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I know a lot of guys around me, a lot of men that
Yeah.
don't want to even fucking sit with themselves.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? At all, one bit.
Yeah, yeah.
They think my life's great.
Yeah.
But what's your habits?
Yeah, yeah.
How are they affecting the people around you?
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
the people
it.
you do love.
Yeah.
And can you work on that?
Yeah.
And if so, fucking, blokes like this,
Yeah.
fuck, mate, if I saw you walking down the street, I'd be like, nah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to ask this guy for directions.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's
But
it.
at the end of the day, it shows, mate, doesn't matter how we look on the outside.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Strength comes from internally.
It does.
You stand up and you sort it out.
Like, just riding off the back of what you said about your kids and you too, for people who have a very aggressive makeup and nature, which is I'm totally for it, right? Because that's what got you to a certain place in your career. Same with all of us have a little bit of a more fire, What I noticed too, the only thing that actually makes us shift is a greater love.
That's it.
That's right,
That's it.
Right? Because we're so volatile that we're okay to damage ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Well, at the cost of even damaging ourselves, we'll go what we want to do.
Yeah.
But when you come across a love that's even greater than that, that's the thing that shifts
And that's
us.
it. That's what I found with my little boys.
Yeah.
I love them more than anything. Not only that, with how I was dealing with things and that, like I said, you're not fixing anything. All you're doing is, it takes strength to stand up and realise that you need help and that you need to deal with things. And at times you've got to suffer to get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's the only way to get better sometimes is you have to suffer. And all I kept doing was pushing things back, not dealing with them. Sometimes you've got to suffer and feel the hurt so you can go through it.
We spoke about it today. So your body's like, that's why we call it B.HUMAN, right? Because like your body, your system is so intelligent. It gives you a sense of uncomfortable feelings, discomfort, pain, suffering. So it goes, hey, you need to look at this. But we were talking about it, like why people get into addictive patterns and behaviours, right? And then what they do, they'll say they do, snort something that night. They feel great, but in order to sleep, they're going to then have to take the opposite, right? And so your body's communication with you just gets numbed down. And so what you think you're managing, but you're actually killing off the communication between you and your body, right? And just because you can get through it because the chemicals have been changed in your system, doesn't mean your system's healthy. And I think that's what you mean by that. You actually have to feel it, man. You can't avoid it anymore.
And once I realised I was hiding from that, and like that's not in my nature. I don't hide from things. Like when I played football, I don't hide from anything. So when I realised what I was doing, I had to fix it. Do you know what I mean? I have to face things, and you have to hit them head on to fix things. That's the only way through.
That's amazing, man. So tell us now. So you had 10 years where you were sort of avoiding that space. Then you had your boys. Started to open that heart up again. What led to the next thing?
Then to being back with the Raiders again. So then I started working with the Raiders on a consultancy role. And then the year after that, they called me and asked me to be.
But what was the bridging gap though? Did you know how you were really avoiding that space because it was hurting?
Yeah, it was.
So what made that gap seal?
I think one of the a player I used to play with, he was a coach at the time, and he just knew what my nature was like with the boys. So that's what he wanted to get me involved. So and then he got me in there, like he got me the consultancy role. And then once I started working with the boys, I think then Ricky asked me the next year to come hands on, and from there it's grew into what it's grown in, and I love it. I've got my love back for the game.
Yeah,
so
how beautiful is that?
100%. I think, you know what? Having some young boys coming up, very fucking lucky, and they should be grateful to have someone with experience, because not just experience in the game, highs, lows, outside of the game. And mate, I know like when it comes to any type of coaching, you got to have experience. You cannot fucking preach something that you've not felt yourself. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So I think they've got a very good asset in you at the Raiders there, and you're also a strength conditioning coach outside of there too. How'd that come across?
Well, to transition from football, I went straight into being a trainer. And then because it's a very similar field, I made my transition really easy. And it's something I've always obviously because I didn't have much talent, Joey, so I had to be on top of my game. I always had to make sure I'd done everything right to play footy, to be out there.
Amazing.
So I've just ran from that, from football, and I love training. When I grew to love training, being a football player, and then I've just continued as a work. It's something I love doing, so that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
So now you get to help people one-on-one as well, you know what I mean? So I love looking back at journeys of life and where you've come to so far, and what I found as well with my own personal experiences is instead of fucking resenting and hating the past and going, I wish this, I wish that, you look and go, fuck, maybe it's all meant to be this way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that helps you put peace to
I definitely try to practice gratitude, brother. Like, I'm just be grateful that everything's happened. I've had a great career and a great life, so I'm trying to be grateful for everything I've got and practice that every day. So, and that's what, like I said, I've got no reason to be, to be broken. I've got a great life, I've got a great family, and that's why I'm, trying to do everything just to stay on track.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know what's beautiful though about, because now if you look at life, right, before we used to see people that played sports and we would only see a limited aspect of them, like the highlights, right? But now through social media, with what they share, everyone's got a camera, so much more is exposed, right? Behind the scenes and what they really go through and what they sort of, have to undertake and personal stuff and everything. And I think it's just amazing you have had experience in both worlds, right? And you have found peace in both worlds, right? As a coach, I know through him, you have to deal with the person that's, you're coaching, even their emotional ups and downs, what they go through in their family life, this, that, the other. And I think that's what when people say thank you for making us feel so safe in our events, right, and holding space, is because I always believe you have had to have been the victimizer and the victim. You got to have the range, right? Because you have such a range, right, in your life, is why you're so good at what you do, mate. Because if you only came out of the highlight reel and your life was perfect, and you had someone that you were coaching that didn't have your life, you would never reach their heart.
That's right.
You would never reach their heart, mate. Right. So I think, we do it at events and we try and show up like that with people that we meet. We're always like, hey man, all spectrums, welcome.
That's it.
Love you. But I think it's so good because now that we can be applying this to all positions, right? You as a father, you as a husband, you as a coach, you as a friend. You can apply that to everything in life, and I think you can't learn that. It has to be lived.
That's right. You got to live it. That's right. I've lived it.
You have to live it, and so it's a beautiful thing to see someone like you, who has actually found his way back into the same thing through the heart. So you didn't avoid it. You didn't start off a business where now you're like doing cafes. Like you're still successful there. Right. You actually came back into the pain. Right. Came back into the heart. Through a new fucking point, and you found your love in that space again. So that's amazing.
Thank you. It's been good. It's been a good transition. I'm loving being back in there. My love for the club and the game is still there, as strong as it ever was.
Yeah, can see it, man. And can you tell the viewers a little bit about your journey with breathwork and how that's helped you and spinal and
my sister bought me a ticket. I honestly thought I was turning up to have a stretch. I thought it was like a yoga thing.
Have a stretch. It's like my hammy's a bit tight. It'll do me good.
And I thought I didn't.
I want to do yoga. I want to do yoga.
Yeah, I never heard of it, and then I turned up, and on the day, like I said, we got into it, and I'd never felt a release like it. Like, I must have had so much stuff stored inside of me that I'd been hiding, running from for years. And then just the weeks after, I just felt a massive relief, and I could feel it put me back onto the path where I was, I had to start dealing with things instead of pushing things to the back. So that was the start of it. And now, as I said, like I know now that you can't run around things, you've got to run through them. So that's what I'm doing now.
Mate, you got to do exactly what you did on the field.
That's it.
That was your authenticness. That's where you are.
And what I love though is like we haven't had a session since last time, right? But you know what you did? You actually integrated it by applying it in life now. You started training, you started fucking sitting with yourself, you started questioning yourself, you're like looking at yourself, right? People can get caught up in doing just the events. What's good about you, like you fucking did an event, it switched you on, and you're like, okay, I've got to fucking ground this now. This is going to be my life.
That was the thing that opened my eyes to, Yeah, you can't avoid it. You know what I mean? And you can't run around. You have to sit and deal with it. You have to, like I said, sometimes you got to sit and suffer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To really deal with things, and
Yeah,
you come
you
out
do,
the other
right,
side better.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Man.
Mate, without that suffering, without that restriction, there's no growth, man.
That's right.
You're fucking 3 times the size of us. even your muscles are fucking bigger, you know what I mean?
No,
But
it's good. It's helped me everywhere, Joey. It really has. Like I said, it really opened my eyes to what this stuff does, and it opened my eyes to having strength enough to stand up.
And what's the message for men? Like, we'll do that as a last sort of question for Josh. Is like, what would you say to men who are really nervous about this work or find it funny, or, you know, they're a bit wary of it, and they think like opening up emotionally, being vulnerable is sort of like a weakness. Like, what would you say?
It's definitely not a weakness. You know, it takes strength to stand up and show your emotions. It really does. Yeah. And once you realise that, you'll become better. You'll get better. You know what I mean? Hiding stuff and hiding your emotions stuff, all that does is push it to the back, and they'll come out in other outlets. So, you know what I mean? You've got to stand up and go through stuff and show your emotions and let it out. Otherwise, it'll come back and hurt you.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're a sports person, a fucking entrepreneur, trying to rule the corporate world or whatever. It's gonna help you perform.
That's it.
You know, it's gonna help you fucking be in your
be a
true
better
self.
version of yourself.
Yeah, you'll have a nervous system that works.
Yeah.
You won't take fucking a whole quarter to get moving because you've fucking got pre-game fucking nerves that have consumed you, paralysed your legs and whatnot. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about it too, for blokes like us in this world as well, that can still live our passion of athletic performance, of sport. Yeah. And like I said, man, like for all the guys, I don't give a fuck what you look like on the outside. Yeah. It's about what's inside. You know what I mean? That's gonna really show the fucking what you're made of. You know what I mean? So that's what it's about. Yeah. Yep. So what's next quickly for Josh Miller before he? What's next? What are you looking at?
Breathwork course.
Yeah, he's about to go and fucking release something big in there.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
You're gonna blow this room up. But what's the rest of the year look for you, bro? What are you looking forward towards?
Well, I want my Raiders to get to the finals, and then who knows what can happen. I got
party at Josh's.
Yeah, I believe the party of mine. But I believe in the boys. I'm just going to pour everything I've got into work. Bro.
Put your energy and passion into that.
And like I said, I'm just focused on finding the best version of myself.
Well done, man.
Yeah.
Mate.
Amazing.
Thanks again. I think, mate, the people in your life are fucking very grateful to have you in their lives, bro.
Thank you.
And you're going to touch a lot of people along the way.
I hope so, mate. I hope so. I want to help people.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it, bro.
Cheers, mate.
Man.
Thank you.
Hey, guys. It's Zuzu and Aish from B.HUMAN Podcast. Firstly, we'd like to say thank you. We're very grateful for the support, ongoing support. Our podcast is one of our first passions. That's where B.HUMAN really started growing its legs. True. Before the events and courses and other things that we have done. So we would love if you could please subscribe and continue the support, because it will help us bring on bigger guests and more interesting conversations, and just basically help us have that presence online there on YouTube and on our Spotify platforms as well. So I hope you all enjoy, and thank you for the support.
Thanks, guys.